Golden Rock on the dais, please. I request our Treasurer, Mr. Narendran, on the dais, please. Let's all rise for the Tamil Vaaltu. Thank you, gentlemen. Good evening, sir. Now, I request our President to honor our past President, Mr. Ramasamy, by offering a Vandanam. Sir. Thank you. I request our past President, Mr. Ramasamy, to honor our Chief Guest, Anil Ganeja, by offering him some honor. Thank you. I request Mr. Sivasubramaniam of GTP Granites to honor Mr. Balakrishnan of Golden Rock Granites by offering one honor.
Sir? Sir, you want?
Thank you. Now I request Mr. Kishan Agarwal to honor our President, Mr. Muthu by offering him Thank you, gentlemen. I request our President, Mr. Muthu to welcome the gathering and say a few words about our final Tamil.
Good evening. I'm very happy to see you all very soon again. In a VIP visit, these sort of technical glitches do happen. I hope you are aware of what happened when US president who visited Hyderabad, Clinton, when he visited the whole, because of the jammer, the whole system didn't work. So, until today is VIP, so it happened because all these years we have been having a lot of occasions in this hall, and it was always smooth. So that's probably because we have a IIT graduate from IIT Kanpur, and then he had two options, either to go to US and pursue masters in computer science or switch to or do the MBA, and he had an inclination that natural stone is an easy industry for him to pursue his career. So he chose to promote natural stone through Litos. Litos has been a magazine for 30 odd years now, and he's recently switched from paperback version to completely digital version. And Anil has traveled to almost all the stone fairs around the world, so he knows many people from the industry, and he has a serious insight. And from his background, you can understand he can easily more than any of us. So Anil, in all the private conversations with many of us, always maintained that Indian monument industry has unique skills, and that could, that we could encash our skills if we diversified our focus from monuments to, other areas, artifacts, predominantly building areas. So we have been talking about having Anil as a speaker in different occasions, and it happened so quickly that he is here today. I am now going to leave the floor to him so we can all get benefited out of it. Once he is done with his presentation, we will have an interactive session where every one of us can ask questions if we have. Do I have to say anything more? Thank you very much. This was a conversation that has been long overdue. It's not a joke. It's a conversation. Because we are among friends. My first friends for the last 30 years began from the
responsibility that this tradition, going back thousands of years, continues in further generations. And as Mr. Shankar mentioned, this industry has some special skills that are not really available almost anywhere in the world. The ability to manipulate gravity, to make masterful products, that skill, that tradition, that heritage, that culture exists only in Tamil Nadu. We cannot afford to lose these skills. You are making brainstorms. The time has not come to do perhaps something different. Business models usually have the beginnings, the growth, and they also have the state of maturity and then decline. That is part of business. Growth, maturity, and decline. And how do companies survive and prosper? By getting into new lines of business. So getting into new lines of business is something normal. For example, many multinationals have objectives. The CEO says, in the next 5 years, 50% of our turnover must come from products that don't even exist today. So if you charter into new waters, you are only doing what is expected of any businessman. The ability to be flexible, the ability to adapt, the ability to innovate, and the ability to discover new possibilities. That's what the game is. It always has been so. My knowledge of the modern industry is limited. But I do know this. Let us say, for example, you have 30 to 40% of the market share, maybe a similar in the hand of China, and some in Central Europe. It's not a growing industry. There will always be Chinese competitors. There will always be Central, or let's say, European producers working with, for example, Scandinavian granites. So the focus for growth, the possibility for growth is very limited. Especially because innovations are now on the increase. For example, I believe USA right now has 65 or 2/3% of the people are not cremated. And the percentage is expected to go up to 80. And a similar trend is being observed all over the world. In part, because there is less space left in the urban centers. In part, because people prefer cremations. Whatever be the reason, the point is, you have reached the point where you need to make some serious decisions. And my presence here, as an outsider, as an observer, is only to be a catalyst to provoke and to make you think what these new possibilities could be. So let's get into it. Like I said, cremations are increasing steadily in all major markets. So there's tombstones, and also they seem to be becoming smaller. And this decline in total demand was actually interrupted by the pandemic due to the tragic death of millions, thousands, or hundreds of thousands of people. Some of them, most of them, elderly people who were already sick. What the industry went through was an upswing in future demand. The future demand became current demand. Aggravated, or let's call it even more heightened by the higher transporting costs, which sort of eliminated China from the pure markets. but that's gone. The future demand has been more or less fulfilled. Not fully, but perhaps more or less. And shipping rates are down. So we are actually back to what was already a long-term trend of steady decline. Small decline, but not growth and not even stable. Then there are new realities, which you must consider too. Shortage of skilled labor is everywhere, and which will only get worse in the near term if keep on going. Demographically, in Europe, that's a problem, and USA too seems to have a skill problem. No one sees a solution. One reason why so much investment is being made in CNC machines is because they just can't find skilled labor. And what kind of skilled labor nowadays exists? Germany, for example, used to have 3 training schools for stonemasons. I believe they're going to close 2 of them. In other countries, we don't even have that. Secondly, because skilled labor is short, anyone who knows how to handle a CNC machine has many other possibilities. Why should he be in the stone industry? So, even when there is skilled labor, that segment, those kinds of labor, they have other alternatives. In other words, our typical up to now distribution that goes from the factory through the stonemasons to the end customer, whatever be the products, is likely to be disrupted seriously in the short, medium, and long term. So if you make semi-finished products, and it has to go through a further chain of processing, that segment is going to be under severe trouble in margins, in finding adequate sources of outlets, and then really, in the short term, I really don't see where the future is for people making semi-finished products. Just an example, I was in Budapest this year in March in a conference in the Hungarian Association. I asked them and they told me, look, 10 years ago, there were 3,000 stonemasons. Now there are 1,800. In Nuremberg, I spoke to some gentlemen. Same thing. He said the number of stonemasons has declined by 25% over the last decade. And that fits in with what I'm observing in my own database of training posted in other countries. In other words, the intermediate chain starting from the factory and going up to the final consumer is becoming smaller. There is no succession in many companies. New people, sometimes some people don't want to get in there. And it's part of life. People retire. And then you have a choice. Either you sell or you close. There is no other third choice. There is another new reality. And I think it was mentioned, and I hope you know it, and I hope you are totally convinced about it. Inline industry remains a world leader in manipulation of granite. Who is your competition in terms of heritage, in terms of skills? None. Absolutely none. These deals have been coming down through the ages. And because we are going through a phase where the industry is in maturity or decline, there is a genuine, real need to rethink everything, to rethink your basic assumptions, and to start saying, what else can we do? So starting again, there's nothing to be scared about. All your companies do start starting. There was one day when the company where you are started from scratch. And it's time to unleash that entrepreneurial spirit and start again renew again. So it's time to rethink your basic assumptions and start the way you started when you first began. Then too, you launched into a risky venture, but it worked out. So it's time to be young again. So let's look at what can be the possibilities. You have to decide. I'm just showing you what I have seen during my 30 years in this industry in terms of products, commercial products, or interesting, creative products beyond the slabs and tiles. That has been the core, the spinal cord of the industry. The business model of the stone industry, the modern stone industry, has been basically slabs and tiles. And that is now under threat from porcelain, from other factors, from other reasons also are there. But let's not get into that. So being creative here, someone says, is nothing but a mindset free. So let's start with textures. We have this bad habit before when we fed of seeing polished stone, polished all the time. And obviously, we are open then to competition from artificial materials because they can do the same thing. But 3D textures is another game. Here are just a few. There are literally hundreds more. Once you play with textures, you give that stone a different look altogether. It's like somebody wearing a new dress every day. You look different. You wear one day suit and tie, you look different. Another day, sporting look, you look a completely different person. You have a different hairstyle, you look different. Nothing different. But we have been far too conservative when it comes to presenting natural stone, whether it is to the rest of the industry or to the final consumer. And that has been a weakness of ours. I don't know whether you can see it clearly, but look at the facade where the end of the blocks, what we call it, instead of throwing it away, was used for facade. And this was a prime building project. This is the hall that was made in Doha, and the architect wanted that the stone be cut scaffolding in exactly the same way as it used to be done 1,000 years ago. He didn't want the modern machines. He wanted that ancient look. This is another prize winning facade made by a very famous architect of Canada. I only showed this because we talk about we make a very big mistake because of uniformity. Blackstone doesn't have to be uniform. And here in the walls of a Portuguese company, you see different shades, but the overall look of the wall is very elegant. He's not looking for uniformity. He's looking for something else. Look, this is just a recent thing. What I'm going to do for say in Istanbul. Then you have murals in stone. I saw some fantastic examples this morning when I visited Tehran. But I have some. this front. Stone benches. Why not? Why do benches have to be made of cement? Why do they have to be made of steel? There's so much more in natural stone. By the way, inspired by Gaudi from the Sagala family. I gave this talk in 2019 May in Manhattan during the week of design. And the audience was 90% interior designer. And I just told them this. This was the first day of summer, 21st of May. I said, for the next 4 months in New York, you will be spending all your time outside in your gardens. And you know how it is in the US in the suburbs. Behind the houses, they do have a garden. And I said, you'll be having your barbecues, your meeting family, with neighbors and friends. And look what your benches are made of. Plastic. Every single year. Every single year you buy new tables and new chairs. And then you just throw them away when the summer is over. Why don't you make them of natural stone? They're already there. After the talk, there was a cocktail. When I spoke to the designer, not one person asked me what was the price. Every single person wanted to say, where do we find them? Where can we get them? It's a question of showing these things. Once they're in the garden, they'll be there forever. And if they're elegantly made, you know how houses are in the States many times. You can look at the neighbor's garden and you can see 3 or 4. You haven't done one, the other person wants it too. Staircase. This is solid massive block. Another way of differentiating from everyone else. I like to say that people somehow don't understand what makes natural stone unique. And one of them is, this is just an example, exotic stone from Brazil performed 600 million years ago. 600 million years ago. And the first fish came 100 million years later. You never think of those terms. But it's an awesome thought when you tell that to people what really natural stone is. Then he said it's stone in commercial settings. And it's just a hodgepodge of different applications. And you get an idea of what the image of natural stone is among the consumer. This is an example in a hairdressing salon. These designs were inspired by Vietnamese currency notes. So different tables, different designs, inspired because Vietnamese old Vietnamese currency notes, they always have to show some local flower. Nothing else than Harrods. Most upmarket supermarket stores there is in London. Look how they display their handbags. So in spite of our own poor efforts, the image among the interior designers at the highest level is actually to present natural stone. One of my friends He was in Geneva. He was just walking around the streets of Geneva and he saw a Cartier showroom and the watches were displayed. But around them, everything was making porcelain. He made a comment on the social media. How come a luxury watch like Cartier, luxury brand like Cartier, use porcelain as a plastic material as a background? Somehow Cartier came to know about it. Because they have these people searching the social media. 1 month later, my friend was in Geneva again. It had been changed to natural stone. This is the impact that people have when we transmit the image of natural stone. Flooring. Normally you could use any floor, square meters, but if you have that small feet, it can only be done in natural stone, never in any other material. And then you can always say to a possible buyer, just put the feet on the puppy dog. There. Put the feet of your little child there, measure it and make that as part of the drawing. Do you think you will use anything else except for something in natural stone? That's our advantage. Once again, Karadama, which everyone knows what it is, 200 million years. And the first birds appeared just 40 million years later. It's a very emotional argument. That's one of the great virtues of natural stone. We have the ability to connect emotionally with people. This is something which man-made materials can't do. The ability to connect on an emotional level, you should know that very well, because when you make ornaments, your buyer adds the name of the person in whose memory the gravestone was made. It adds an emotional weight. But emotionally it doesn't have to be only in gravestone. It can be any other thing. In culture, whatever you make. And once you are able to personalize something, whatever end product that you are making, personalizing something that the end consumer can relate to, then it's yours. Then you won't do anything else but buy from you. Stone and gold. Oh, this is a lovely instance. I was there in the Zora Fair and there was one exhibitor who was showing these panels in marble, wainscot, prepared with 24 kilowatt bulbs. One sheikh came in with the wife, and the wife wanted it immediately. I want this. Sheikh got angry, let me negotiate. No, she just kept on and on at him. Just kept on, I need this, I want this for my bathroom. And the sheikh had no choice but to pay whatever the buyer had asked for. But then, stone with metal, it doesn't have to be just gold. So I'm fine. Some people ask, but it works. Wine actually exists in the whole of the West, especially in Europe. Almost every single house, they drink wine. And why can't we show them wine products? There's a huge market out there. And there is no competition because no one really does it. Look at this. Parts of that are actually running out of fashion. But in the most luxury homes, they still exist, but not in that simple form. Furniture, the big one. People are already doing furniture in Maccleston. It's no longer something interesting, something just isolated. There is no limit to furniture. It just boggles the mind, the possibility that exists. You don't have to bother about uniformity. Nobody would care. Chimney is not here, but in other countries, yes. And then stone in the garden. That is yet another application, especially if you happen to be in the landscaping sector. There's a huge tourism industry. There are thousands of swimming pools in all these hotels. And look at those deck chairs. They're all made of plastic. Every single year they're replaced. And it's quite complicated having to clean them. Imagine if they were all made of black stone. Just deck chairs. Imagine in countries which have a huge tourism industry. All of them have swimming pools. All of them. Simply making deck chairs of different designs depending on the level of hotel is a huge market. We haven't even offered these to the customers. Dining tables. Dining tables, why do they have to be of glass or whatever else, or wood? Why not of metal stone? Customized dining table. Once again, connecting with the end customer. That's our great strength. You have a dining table, but supposing you put in the family name, you engrave the family name in the center. Things change. These are luxury tables inspired by Mondrian in this case. stone carpets. We call them mosaics. But let's use the word carpets, and things change. We can't just everything is possible. That is what I have been trying to transmit through this talk, including this and this. This was shown in Charlie Stone Fair about 6 years ago. So if they can make a Ferrari like this, creativity is particularly possible. Development is possible. Thank you very much. Yes, I think we can have some question answer, some dialogue.
The floor is open now. You can have an interactive session with Mr. Anil. Whatever doubts you have or whatever you need to ask, you can ask him. He is ready to answer you. Come on, gentlemen. Please. Go on, take the evening. It's a nice evening today. Come on, enjoy.
Mr. Anil, it's interesting to see all the products, but what is the volume they can do? Because unless there is a volume in business, it's very difficult for them to concentrate on that. And where it can be promoted, any fair exclusively, what kind of these things they can come and promote it also.
Let me talk of, for example, wine holders. Okay. There are, I estimate it about, yes. Let's talk about wine holders. There are about 200 million homes in Europe, about 150 to 200 million homes in USA. Just about every single home, there's a culture of wine in most of them. Imagine if we can, little by little, over the years, maybe decades, get people to have wine holders in the homes. Endless market. We have to develop it. Endless market. You start with one. And by the way, some companies are already doing it. They're already making them. They're selling them one by one at premium value, but still a novelty product. Furniture. How many cartons are there in the good house? Why can't you have stone benches everywhere? I'm not talking about public parks. I'm not talking about going to the municipality and trying to sell maybe 100, 200 in some public place. No. Just homes. Summer. Go to Florida. Oh, why not here? Why go outside? Even in India now there's a very big upper class. It's just a question of showing them. These are the things that can be done. Okay. So the market is still endless. You can't do a market survey on something that doesn't exist. But you can only say that volume will come the time because you are developing the market. You're not coming up with a product that already exists. So the market, it has to be built together. If one person does it and the other person copies it, he's not really competing, he's developing, he's building a market. Right? And then we are seeing a new phenomenon. There are a lot of fairs which are called home renovation, since home renovation is becoming a big aspect of today's economy, especially after COVID. Suddenly new fairs are appearing which are focusing on, which are focused especially towards design, towards the interior designers. That's the fair for us. The B2B fairs have their purpose. They also will need to adapt. But there already are fairs. You have to ask the question, where do interior designers and architects go? And that's where you need to be present. I have started this ICSF fair in New York, but that's just one of them. Architects also go to some places. They do go to some events. Interior designers, there are thousands of them, they do go to. Which of them are there? But it's a question of finding out. You can find it out on the internet, but you can also find out by talking to people who deal with trade shows. It's not a very difficult question to answer.
Yes, please. Mr. Thank you for giving us a better look on different products. But being in the monument industry, we have our constraints. Let me elaborate on what is possible and what at least most of our mindset are. We deal with predominantly granite material, which is igneous rock, and it's too hard, and most of us deal with 3, 4 inch, 6 inch slabs. With your product range, most of it that you have shown would be a good choice if you're dealing with metamorphic rocks like marble, sandstone, everything, even right from textures. It's easy to manipulate those rocks compared to granite. Similarly, with murals, stone benches, when it comes to stone benches, I think, definitely it's a good idea to have each bench on a garden in each homes, whether in the Western market or US market. But again,
Or the Indian market.
even to Indian market, but Indian market consumers are not going to pay what the mining industry has been typically charging on a regular stone. But again, stone benches, it's hard to transport to each and every home and install it. As a monument, when it comes to monument, we have specialized masons who can do that work. And the price, again, cost factor. What we are used to is a material where we make, and the pricing and profitability is high, and we have stipulated constraints with raw materials too. So anything that we make use of from our wastage might be a good choice, but a lot of these options I personally feel would be better on the marble and sandstone industry rather than the granite industry. Having said that, there's another choice that we can look into, which would be on the cremation side. Even though the cremation is increasing day by day, there is no other choices we are providing as a memorial industry to those customers. And particularly these, instead of benches, we can have cremation urns as a memorabilia on their garden that would be in sync with a small urn or a light in the garden that can be kind of within the industry and utilize the same market. And instead of going to different markets, like rightly said, newer markets, we cannot cater to the volume that we are already producing. And maybe if you go into an architectural or even a museum kind of a product, it's one kind of product and it needs a lot of creativity and the time consumption there. And dealing with architects, again, we are chasing after one single project. It's not like a regular project that's going to feed the industry. So these are all some of the constraints that we are facing, following these ideas. But it's a wonderful idea. I'm not saying anything about the idea, but within our industry, I think it's kind of too far off a stretch. What's your feedback on that?
My observation would be, when you do something new, you have to get out of your comfort zone. And what you are telling me is that you would like to do whatever you want to do, it must be within my comfort zone. That's what you are telling me. And perhaps you don't even need to, you already have high margins. Let me say something regarding the raw materials. There's a lot of emphasis on big size blocks. And one of the reasons why small blocks get wasted is we don't know how to convert them into useful applications. Benches and wine coolers and whatever else, there's so much. They don't need big size blocks. In fact, you can make use of the small blocks that are right now a waste. In fact, the first price is zero because that raw material is waste for now. And it doesn't have to have a particular design either. So the margins are higher than you think. if your raw material cost is zero, but you have the skills, and then there is something else. We have finished products. They don't need further processing. When they come out of your factory, they are ready to be installed to the final consumer. Because the more processing that takes place in different phases, tighter are the margins for everybody. But if you are coming out to the finished product, and I said that's why I deliberately mentioned that the severe shortage of skilled labor and our distribution network is becoming smaller by the year. If you are able to make finished products that have a end consumer possibility, you need to mind those outlets. If you're making benches for the gardens, hey, go to a garden fair, put it there. There have to be outlets for that, not just Walmart. Where do people go when they want to do something for a garden? Put them there, display it, show it. They're not even showing what we can do. There are risks, yes. Calculated risks. That's what you have to do. But you simply have to get out of your comfort zone and understand that your true strength is the ability to manipulate gravity. That sometimes marvelous easier to do, yes. But you know how to work with gravity. That's what you have. That's what you need to work on.
Anybody else? As Sendil rightly said, igneous rocks and other things, you're talking about so many things. And you also put it right. Actually, you can very well use go into marbles and other softer materials when you have the skills. Why not? Come out of your comfort zone. That's why we called you here today.
Again, we don't have access to those. We don't have access to those metamorphic rocks. When most of the rocks has to come from northern part of the country. We are pretty much bombarded with igneous rocks. They are granite is the predominantly available material and cheapest material that's available here. And if you are trying to compete with not where the model you are sourcing models that are not going to be here, trying to compete with late stage rocks, you are not going to do that. You are not going to be able to be profitable.
Thanks, Sandra.
As Sendil rightly pointed out, there are certain problems like the park benches in 44 degrees centigrade temperature here in the southern parts and most of the northern parts of our country. Even it's not feasible to sit over the park benches. Even at 5 o'clock in the evening in summers, it's very hard to sit over the granite benches. Those are the problems. But again, as you said, we in monument industry from day in, day out, we go and we engulf ourselves in the day-to-day problems of recovery, shipment, raw material shortage, labor problem, and we are beating around the bush in the same problem. We don't even have the time to think out of the box and explore these markets. And probably there is a complacency or for us with little higher margins than any other industry. Solely we are not thinking out of the box, or so we are beating around this bush. But I have tried with a lot of new products with garden lights, park benches, wash machines, and a lot of designs using CNC machines in our factory. And we try to explore the markets in the domestic market. I know there is a big market exists in the domestic market itself. I slightly disagree with Sendil that the paying capacity of the domestic market is less, but the paying capacity is very high in our domestic market. The market exists, but we are not having the right attitude to separate this industry. We need to separate this production in a separate aisle and form a team to market this and patiently wait for 3 or 5 years hope our monument making predecessors, they all toiled in the early days to market. They all they struggled a lot in the early days. Now they are selling, automatic orders are coming. They are selling like the marketing part of this part is fulfilled once they reach their capacity. But these products do have a big market in the domestic market and the international market. That's my opinion. But only thing we have to think differently, form a separate division or a separate unit and appoint a person to look after that, wait for some time. We have earned so much in the monument industry, so we can invest something for this, and it's worth waiting to see what happens, taking your advice.
I'm more than advice, I'm just trying to, my aim was just to make you think, get out of the comfort zone, understand what your skills are. But there's a huge world of applications with mass volume, possibilities. They could happen overnight. You won't be solved. But many times when a product is successful, it has an exponential growth. It starts from 1, from 2, which is nothing, from 4, which is nothing, then 16, then 100, then 200. So we can't predict that. There is no market study. Sometimes it fails too. Sometimes maybe you have the right product, but you talk to the wrong person. Sometimes it may not be the right time. The economy will fail. There are so many other. The business world is full of uncertainties, and I don't have any answer to that one. But we all agree that people are open to new, unique things. And these unique things, new things, can be made by metal stone, but they cannot be made by many other things by making products. So let's just try to see what we can do.
Darren Rocks, they are a monument making company, and they also sell to the domestic market these benches and all. They should be in a position to tell what is the market potential for this and that.
Agree. So we are selling some benches, steps, some assets and other things in the domestic market. Not like we are only concentrating 2-3 districts here. So if we can do in larger area, we need marketing things and other things. We can do it. Yeah, that's what I have to tell. What you mentioned, we have to separate entity for that. So that's the main thing. So we can market anything from granite. But it takes time until we have to educate our people, that means with our designs and our products.
It's not that you're starting from zero. You already have the factory, you're already doing things, they are working below capacity. You don't need to do something totally different, starting from scratch and go from 0 to 100 because you made an investment. The investment has been made, the skills are there, the people are there, the knowledge is there. It's a smallest addition is an addition to the bottom line. A smallest addition of that, whatever you can make. You don't need huge volumes in the beginning. But you can start. And sometimes things will not work. But I'll tell you this, there are, and I'm the first person to admit it, too late, but I've been focusing more and more because the COVID of course destroyed everything. What kind of fairs are there where the end consumer comes? Not the mass, we don't want millions of people, I don't know, but the interior designer, the homeowner, the builder, the architect, they do go to events. And just a couple of months ago, I was one in Marway design show. Marway right now is going through a massive construction boom, massive, because for 14 years nothing was happening. So it was time for an upcycle. Secondly, because the weather has changed, the North Europeans wanted to come and live in the south. Before they used to come on vacations, then they wanted something more. Now the whole families are coming over and living in bigger houses. So it's a huge construction boom. I went to that fair for 2 days. It was jam-packed. The builders coming and showing them and just seeing what was there. It was textiles, it was home decoration products. There were a couple of metal stone companies too. So people are coming. And I'm sure there are many other such events. space to hire someone who knows nothing about marketing. He will have a totally fresh attitude towards the business. That is what companies do. They have a post when they want to diversify, new business development manager. It's not just a title, it's a title that exists in many big companies. What does the new business development mean? No, I want someone with a fresh mind who doesn't who's not bogged down by what I'm doing on a daily basis and gives a new approach to my business. So there are many ways of handling this issue. But yes, it can be done. It is being done on a small scale. The point is the companies that are doing it right now are very, very small-sized companies, only 3-4 people working. And they don't have the skills, the financial resources to even take part in the smallest show. So they're doing it on a craftsmanship basis. And if they're doing it on a big basis, they are doing a very good job of hiding what they're doing. Why should they go to a Verona Fair? Why should they go to any place? Why should they show to anyone else? Some people are doing very well out of doing these things. They keep quiet about it. The advantage that in my company has, it does have a minimum size where the company can say, let's dedicate some financial and human resources to marketing, to go to new places. You can do that. The small guy of 3-4 people can't. But you have that advantage.
Good evening, one and all. My name is Padmanabhan from Blue Peak Granites. We have started a furniture industry around 20 years back. And we are doing with a small scale, as you said, with the name of Stone Decor in Coimbatore. And as you said, what you have shown is international designs with a solid block, which was done in CNC machines. But most of our companies have working with a small Indian made or small machines. And we have been working with the stone benches, and solid sinks and statues. Even right now we are having order for a large wash stations, like in kitchen tops and everything. There are people who are paying. So one single wash station we are selling it at a cost of 70,000 to 1 lakh rupees. Also people are paying. It's not. We have to find the right people, and we need to think different. Not as you said, we have to come out of our comfort zone. And I employed 3 people just for installation. Those things is quite difficult, but we need to patiently think what we can make out of our wastages. That is most important. Recently I found 1x1 tile we are selling at the cost of maybe 100 rupees. So with the designs they are selling it for 1,000 rupees. So 10x10 with the area of wall backdrop they are selling it for 10,000 rupees. So or 1 lakh rupees, sorry, 1 lakh rupees. So these all things can be done, but we need a maybe CNC machine or something like that. But as you say, it is possible with the innovative thoughts. Definitely we can achieve. So we started selling benches in outside. As sir said, it is. They say they say we don't have garden. Where we can go and put. So we changed our terms. We say it as a sit-out bench. You can just put in front of your door and read a newspaper or something like that. So we are starting selling from our stores. It's 2 inches and 3 inches. We are selling at the cost of say around 7,000 to 10,000 like that. But we need to reach people. That is most important, and we have to make an innovative marketing. We have to find the right customer with the architects and those things. But Indian market is paying well, but it's very minor people. But we need to find more people so we can make it in a big value. We people, we learn from getting orders as per the order, as per the drawing. We just go ahead with the same drawing. So we need to come out of that and we have to think it in a different way. How to make our wastage into a when we can possible. I hope it's possible. It takes some time, some more time.
Just reminded me of something. There are some companies that are, for example, they are working with designers. They are telling the designers, you tell us what to make, because they don't have in-house design capacity. So that is that solves one problem. It doesn't solve all the problems, but it does give you something to start with. The way in monuments too, your customers tell you what designs to make. Well, I don't know, but Supposing you were to talk to somebody who's in the furniture business and you ask the person who designs them, tell us what to make and we make them. It can be one way to start.
Yeah.
First we are working for the dead people, so we need to change our mindset to work for the living people.
Why should the living person also have something personalized? Why only once you pass away, there should be something in your memory?
First qualification we see to supply is whether he is alive or not.
Along the same line, I think integrating stone with other materials is going to help the industry.
Yes.
Combining stainless steel or metal or aluminum or even glass. If we can open up and look beyond stone industry and combine other materials, then there is a huge potential for whatever wastage that we have. But it has to be integrated with other than stone materials to make it feasible and marketable.
No, I do know at least two companies which have integrated glass with stone. They are making coffee tables, mixing the two, combining the two things. So yes, these things are beginning to happen and they're high-end design. So the possibilities are endless, and it's a market and your own initiative and your experience that will tell you what is the right way to generate volumes. The risk level is there, but minimum. There's always going to be some risk level. But the bigger risk is not doing anything. That is the biggest risk.
Thank you, Anand. Thank you, gentlemen. The President wants to have a few words.
The meeting start பண்ணும்போது the hall was not full. கொஞ்சம் தயக்கமா இருந்தது. The hall is now completely full. We are very, very happy. I thought I'd take this opportunity to thank the latecomers. இது மீட்டிங் ஷெட்யூல் பண்ணி டைமிங்லாம் கொஞ்சம் ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன்ஸ் இருந்தது. அவர் இந்தியன் தான், பட் living in West for quite a while, so when the time obsession so we had to start. We couldn't wait for
YouTube.
We had this online live. It is still live.
It is.
It's still live. So Shekhar said he had somebody in Germany confirming that it is going online. So I think few people have watched it. I think the fact that a lot of people are here is a proof to the choice of the topic. And there are a lot of people for and against the idea of doing what we are trying to achieve. But IMA has now sown a seed in this direction. And we can only hope that many people start doing more other than just the monuments. But what we did not realize was that it's already somebody who is very successful in this. I think the event sponsor should have been Blue Hill and not DTP.
Next time.
And we did not know that Padman is learning so much in
So we will use him for future events.
That's where you are coming to.
It's also where I was coming to. And Shekhar will formally thank Anil, but having got the mic, I thought I'll also thank Anil for the evening. I'm now handing over the mic to Shekhar.
I call upon Mr. Krishna of GTP Granites to present a small memento to Mr. Anil. Please, Krishna. Come forward.
That photo post
Your President will hand over this book, completely about your from the beginning. This was sponsored and printed out by Aman Granites last year.
Ramsamy and us spent a lot of time on this, honestly. அவர் மட்டும் இல்லாம எங்க எல்லாரையும் வேலை வாங்கினாரு.
As he always does.
No, it's starting from the very beginning of FEMA, the very first EC meeting, minutes is there. And then the next edition. Thank you.
Thank you, Anand. First of all, I'd like to thank all the members who have been here. Sound like Sandhu, whom I called only yesterday, and he's here today. Thank you very much, Sandhu. I thank Mr. Anil Agarwal, Kishan Agarwal for all the way coming from Hyderabad to here. Pardon? Yeah. And it was a great evening for us. And hope everybody enjoyed the evening. And I think he is actually taken in to a long journey, like what all can be made in granite. As he said, we do have the skills. Of course we do. We do have the skills, and everybody, each and every one of you, whether it is a smaller factory or a bigger factory, everyone has got the skills, and some are already into it. Like even Narendran is doing a lot in furniture. He is very quiet, but he does a lot of things in that. And even we have been exporting furnitures to Dubai. Last few months back, we did around 20-25 containers to Dubai totally. It was very nice. It was quite interesting. Though not in our factory, it was outsourced in Bangalore. It was good. It was totally great, cheap granite, but they wanted cheap, but they gave us, they paid us good money. So there is a lot of potential in this. Anil, thank you for your insight into this. And I also like to thank Anil, like he has spent his time here today. He has he's not only spent his time, he has not charged us anything for this. Thank you, Anil. What else can I say? Thank you. I want to finish the short. My president is begging me to finish it short because he has got something else outside there. I thank all the office bearers who took tremendous effort to bring in all those people here, present here today. And I thank Mr. Kalyanan who initiated this opportunity by bringing Anil here. It was he who asked us, told us that Anil is on the way to India and why not bring him here. I thank Mr. Kalyanan for that. And I think some new members, probable prospective members. Mr. Chandramoli gave me the list of factories in and around Salem, and he also gave me some of the factories in and around Chennai, whom we are able to call only a few. And whoever are here, we thank them for coming here, and hopefully you guys will come and join us in the IMA, Sendalio including. Please. And I would like to thank our sponsors, GTB Granites, especially Mr. Mutharajan sir, though he is not here today. He is not well. We wish him a speedy recovery. Yeah. I would also like to thank Karthi from Shiva Granites, who has been doing all the job here today, along with our administrative officer Vinayagam. Thank you, Vinayagam and Karthi. And the staffs of Radisson Hotel, the photographers. And yes, we will have a group photo. Finally, it will be good to finish up. Pardon?
Good.
Thank you.
We missed out.
No, we will.
You have now. We'll have it now. And did I miss anybody?
No.
If at all, I am sorry for that.
You have
Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And after the group photo, you'll have the cocktail and the dinner. Please enjoy the day. Hope you all guys enjoyed so far. Thank you. Bye-bye. One second, please. Can you all raise for national anthem? Running.